So you all get the little notice there about it. And just welcome everybody here. And we might have some others come in there. If you hear a little ding, that means somebody else came in. And I'd just like to introduce, kind of let yourself introduce because, and you might say where you're at and maybe briefly about yourself. I'm Scott. I'm in Oregon. So let's go. I'm going to let Emma go last. And I see Arthur. Arthur, you're on there. No, he closed up. That's Emma's father is on there, and it says Rebecca, but it's actually Arthur. And Linda Nyset.
From Amity, newsletter editor, and offices in FCE in Yamhill County.
Okay, and Jeannie. I know she's from Kansas, and maybe she'll get on there. And Wanda.
Good morning. No, it's afternoon now from Tennessee.
All right.
Very warm, and we
Well,
like FCE.
I'm gonna go back to Jeannie. I saw she unmuted, and then there she goes. You want to tell them where you're
But,
from? And
from Pittsburgh, Kansas.
perfect. And I went past Rebecca and Arthur. They're there. They're both together there. So you
So
might
you might.
unmute. You might unmute and
So I'm Rebecca, super glad to be here. And for the first time ever, Arthur.
so now I'm the
Hello.
second best looking guy on here. All right, Barbara.
Barbara, I'm from Hawaii. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it is early morning for you.
Aloha.
7 a.m., not bad.
Yeah. I got Jan 2021. Are you there, Jan? And Ann Ingen.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You want to tell them where you're at?
I'm in the office in Mindale, Oregon, and
Okay.
I've already done a big hike.
Good for you, Anne.
Okay. And Bonnie?
In Klamath Falls, Oregon.
Yeah.
So Jan came on, says she has no camera or mic.
Okay, so maybe you could tell us where you're at, Jan. Maybe you can send in a message and I'll repeat it. Oh, from Virginia. Well, great. That's fantastic. And welcome. And Arlene, you're muted, Arlene.
Yes, she's trying.
Yeah.
Good morning, and I'm here from North Dakota.
Wow. We got a good coverage there. You're going to excite little Emma here. So I'm going to turn the time over to Emma and I want her to introduce herself. And Emma is the daughter of Rebecca and Arthur that you see there. And she's also one of my, and I've already bragged about her, but she's one of my fishing buddies there that goes fishing with me on the boat. And she's on my any day, anytime list. So, Emma, you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself and then just tell them who you are and what you're going to do. And by the way, I remind her and other presenters, we're all amateurs here trying to do a perfect job. And by the way, she took the picture of those pelicans that are in my background.
I'm Anna Petersen, and I'm from Klamath Falls, and I'll be giving you a presentation today.
Okay, and you're welcome to start whenever you're ready.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing, Emma. I don't see your PowerPoint. There, I'm starting to see part of it. And you might go full screen.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
My presentation today is on Venice, Italy. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Venice is also known by the name City of Water. It's known for its canal system that connects the city on over 100 small islands. The city of Venice has beautiful architecture, including landmarks like St. Mark's Basilica, and they are also a bridge. Other famous landmarks in Venice include the Grand Canal, and millions of tourists come to Venice to see beautiful landmarks like that. In 452 AD, the Huns had just attacked southern Italy, and the locals of from there, sorry, I can't talk. They headed for a lagoon just off of the coast and take refuge on several small islands that would probably save their lives. The small civilization eventually went on to build one of the most impressive feats of engineering the world has ever seen, Venice, Italy. Despite having no roads, no land, and no fresh water, the Venetians turned a muddy swamp into the most powerful and wealthiest city of its time.
When the refugees arrived to start
their
new lives on the islands, they had the worst possible surface to build on.
1 second.
You're fine.
I don't know why it keeps doing that, but it like adds my voiceover, and I don't want that. Don't know why that happens, but the small marshy islands were made of an incredibly soft clay, which would barely hold the weight of a human, let alone an entire city. So it was pretty wasted. Okay. To create stable foundations for buildings, the Venetians collected large timber piles from the forests of Croatia and began hammering them into the ground. Croatian forests provided high-quality oak wood, essential for the construction of Venice's iconic structures. Timber was transported from Croatia to Venice using established sea routes, ensuring a steady supply for construction needs. The wood trade between Croatia and Venice significantly contributed to Venice's architectural development and economic growth. Venetians in the beginning stages of construction, they would hammer logs into the ground until it reached a much harder layer of clay, and you can see in the diagram here, they had to go pretty deep to find that. Not only did this stabilize the piles, but by packing them close together, it compressed the surrounding clay, pushing out water and making it much stronger. Once the piles were firmly on the ground, the tops were cut off and wooden planks were laid on top to spread the load. Special blocks of Istrian stone were then placed to raise the foundations above the water. This design was a stroke of genius, as the wooden piles were sealed away from air, making it impossible for them to rot, so it pretty much fossilized them. To this day, almost all of the original piles are in great condition and still holding up the city. So these are some of the pictures that I could find. These are the logs that they used. So to keep the buildings as lightweight as possible, the buildings needed to be no more than 3 stories high. Lime mortar was used instead of concrete because it was lighter and it allowed the building to flex and move as the ground beneath slowly swayed. And that way it didn't crumble like it would if it were a regular building. The inner walls were built in a crisscross pattern that would also flex like a trellis. The beautiful stone decorations on the front of the building that you would see in medieval buildings were too heavy, so they had to be pinned into the wall or into the floor of the buildings. And this method of building worked well for the Venetians, and soon several islands around the lagoon were established in this way. Instead of expanding outwards like most cities, these islands expanded into each other. After solving the housing issue, early development in Venice still faced challenges. For a long time, you could only reach the other islands by a boat, and as the buildings clustered together, though, soon you could travel by horseback through the shallows. Boats weren't always practical, though, and horses weren't a long-term solution. To turn Venice from a collection of islands into a bustling city, bridges had to be built. The Doge of Venice set up a prize for the engineer who could design the best bridge. The first attempt was a simple pontoon bridge that connected the two largest sections of Venice and, crucially, provided quick access to the Rialto area. The Rialto area was the main, what's it called? Not agricultural. It was the business boom. Everything was there. That was New York Times Square for them. The pontoon bridge was upgraded to a larger, more stable wooden bridge, but after the bridge burnt to a crisp, the engineers were determined to find a permanent solution. The Rialto Bridge was built in the 16th century, I'm pretty sure. And it's one of the most famous places in the world. And it has seen millions of people across the canal, and it's 434 years of service. Venice's bridges provide essential connectivity, enabling easy and efficient transportation across the city's numerous canals. These bridges enhance the architectural beauty of Venice, adding to the city's historic charm and aesthetic appeal. Venice's bridges are significant tourist attractions, drawing millions of visitors who admire their design and cultural importance. After a while, the population had grown to over 170,000 people, and Venetian engineers were put to the test once again. Water was becoming an issue. The only way Venice had previously obtained water was by having it shipped to the city, where it was then utilized. I have a clip of a video I need to show.
As business increased, so did the population, and the demand for fresh water was out of control. Despite being surrounded by water, Venice couldn't use any of it, since it was extremely salty and undrinkable. Without natural springs or rivers to collect fresh water, Venice relied upon boats to deliver water from the mainland. But with 170,000 people, the demand became too much, and the Venetian engineers had to get creative. From the beginning, Venetian islands were built around squares, which were initially just empty fields for animals to graze upon. The idea was to use these squares to collect rainwater. They started by digging out large areas under the entire square and lining the walls with a thick layer of clay to make it waterproof. The space was then filled in with sand and stones, and the surface was redone with tiles that would lead the water towards each corner of the square. From here, rainwater would flow into the basin and gradually filter through the sand and stones until it reached the main well at the center of the square. To maximize the surface area for water collection, the roofs of the nearby buildings were fitted with gutters that would direct the water onto the square and into the drains. Venice then became an enormous funnel, which filled more than 600 wells around the city. The Venetians had once again engineered a masterpiece to save its city. But there was still one huge problem: waste. Until this point, people threw all of their waste out of the window, some of it landing in the canal. But for those who didn't live within throwing distance of a canal, urine, feces, and rotten food all ended up in the streets. And so, in the 16th century, the Venetians started building a network of underground tunnels that would collect the waste from every building and flush it into the canal. When the tide of the lagoon was down, solid waste would collect at the bottom, and the liquids would naturally flow into the canals. Then, when the tide rose, it would flood the tunnels and pull the solid waste into the canal. The motion of the tide coming in and out twice a day would exchange the dirty water for fresh water from the sea, flushing Venice from all of its waste. The extremely salty water worked as a strong disinfectant, and thanks to this system, the streets became clean. Amazingly, almost all of the incredible engineering that made Venice is still around today. The bridges, the canals, the buildings are all ancient relics sitting on a forest that has held up the entire city for over 1,000 years.
Okay. Oops.
Very interesting, Emma.
Thank you. This is one of the pictures from the video of the canals. I'm going to talk about Italian culture for a little bit because I find it really interesting. Italian culture is a rich tapestry woven from threads of art, history, family, food, and a strong sense of community. It's known for its focus on creativity, community, and passionate communication, all while cherishing family bonds and personal connections. Italy is also known for their artistic history. Although Leonardo da Vinci was born almost 1,000 years before the traditional founding of Venice, he is still one of the most famous artists of all time. Leonardo is also known for not only his artwork, but also for his inventions. And this is one more picture from the video of Venice. And thank you for listening to my presentation. It was made possible from my mom's feedback and would have worked out without her helping me. My source was really reliable, and I think I'm glad for them. So thank you.
Good job, Emma. That was really good. Very interesting.
Thank you. That was really good. I like the video. I learned a lot. I never even thought about how Venice was actually, I didn't know that they'd build it on these pillars. And obviously anyone that works with wood knows that there are some woods that you put in the ground and they rot almost immediately, and they must have used that oak. And it was interesting how once they sealed it off, it kept it from rotting.
Yes, lots of good
job, Emma.
information, Emma.
It was really good.
So
Well done, young lady.
why don't you unmute yourself, Emma, and ask people if they got any questions, comments.
Do you have any questions? I have answers, hopefully, in this class.
Well, if you don't have the answers, so maybe somebody else will.
I want to thank you, though. It was very informative and you did a great job.
Emma, why don't you tell them how old you are?
I'm 13, turning 14 this August.
Yeah, well,
You did an excellent job.
well, she might be one of our new FCE members before she knows it. I haven't given her the application yet.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very, very well. And by the way, I have a copy of the PowerPoint, so if you need it, and I am recording this, so it will be available on the recording of it, and I'll get those on there. And while I'm on here, I got to do a little sales pitch. I need some presenters. I don't think people want to listen to me anymore. And even Bonnie's done an awful lot of them, and we've got some very good lessons. And I asked Linda Nyseth, and she said, no, thank you. And Anne, it's been a long time since you did one.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, I have trouble with
Well,
my brain.
maybe I get Wanda to do one.
Mhm.
Well, I do appreciate it. Anybody else got any comments for Emma before she leaves?
So all I can say, Emma, is you ought to turn this into one of your teachers next year for extra credit. It was very good.
I think so too. I really do. Emma, so you need to tell your teacher, whoever it is, maybe a social studies teacher or world history or some teacher like that, and maybe even an English teacher or whatever it is, and say, look at what I did. I did this PowerPoint. I did a Zoom lesson on it. I taught a bunch of old people.
From lots
Emma?
of states, looking at that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah, Emma, have you been to Venice?
No, but it's on my bucket list. I want to go to Europe.
Yes, you must go there. I've been there, and you didn't talk about how people got around all the canals and all the different kind of boats, and that's really an interesting part of it.
Thank you for your feedback. I'll think about that.
So why don't you tell us about it,
Okay.
Anne? Since you've been there, why don't you
Ah,
share a little bit?
well, Emma didn't talk about all the pigeons.
Tell us.
Well, they decorate, you get off a boat in the harbor and you step onto what you think is dry ground and into a big plaza, and it's and it was lovely, and I looked up and I said, gosh, all these beautiful wrought iron um, um, lights out there in the plaza. I said, those are really good. And I got closer, and then all the pigeons flew off the lights. And I said, oh, it is, it's just the birds that are looking good. But it was interesting. And I think everybody should go once to Venice. It's very,
Well done.
lovely.
Well done, Emma and Anne. Thank you for all of that additional information. What was the food like there?
Well, it's Italian. We only had one meal. We had a tour, but it has a lot of little, what do I want to say? For walking through, it's a lot of little places, and you have to be careful because you can get lost in all the little tunnels.
Yeah, I bet. It sounds like a really cool place, but I think I would get lost no matter what, like even if I had a tour guide.
Yeah.
That's probably why you have a tour guide.
Oh, we did Rogue.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Well, and she's actually Emma's actually from Klamath Falls, but she's visiting family and she's up in Idaho. So I get to add a new list on the of where the presenters are from because she's the very first presenter from Idaho. So,
Oh, wow. Good for her.
yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody coming, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next month. I need presenters, so if you know anybody, I'm going to send out a request in my emails. And by the way, I do send out about 1,500 to 2,000 emails inviting people to come, and I appreciate you coming. I know it's the 4th of July coming up, and I figured there would be some people that weren't here because of that. And I told Emma that I said, we might have 10 or 15 people, and we might have 30. I never know. It's always just a big, nice surprise. So I will let you go. And Emma, do you have anything else before you go?
No.
All right. We'll let everybody go. Thank you very much, and
Okay.
have a safe 4th of July.
Thank you.
Oh, same to
Bye,
you.
all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Watch one of my emails.
Good to meet all of you.
Hey
Thanks.
guys.
Okay.
Thanks, Arthur, for all your help.
Yeah,
It was fun.
both
You and Rebecca.
Emma's a delight to work with.
Oh,
She
yeah,
is.
we know.
Yeah.
Oh, and she wasn't here to
Oh,
hear
yeah.
that. So, but
Make sure you tell
I'll
her.
tell her. I'll call and tell her.
All right.
But
Bye.
Bye.
bye.